counter punch. Telling him not to 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 counter punch.
It is yet another exciting edition of Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of the program, winners emerge at the River State International Marathon. Then we're coming in from Abuja. The sports minister hails River Hoopers after the Basketball League campaign. Pantani Stadium confirms Gombe United as relegation candidate for the Nigerian Professional Premier Football League. Details of this and many more will be yours when we return from the break.
Corruption not in my country.
Driver, why you just dey jack us up and down like this now?
I hope nobody carry belle.
Why you ask oh?
Because this road where they see so, it no guarantee safe delivery.
We just dey vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Road so e no dey, light o usai, the infrastructure nko e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No vex, now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't call.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. I will call you back.
Their behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently, make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadehi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Telling him not to counterpunch.
Welcome back. Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network, and how we meet this hour, Michael.
Hey, good morning, sir. Good morning to our viewers out there.
I will start from the local scene. Amidst pomp and pageantry, Giamboy Onyango of Plateau State claimed the top prize in the men's marathon with a time of 2 hours, 28 minutes, 29 seconds. While his counterpart, Ilya Pam Wanta, same from Plateau State, finished in second place in the time of 2 hours, 39 minutes, 39 seconds. Kesley, we saw a lot of, like we described there, pomp and pageantry along the 42-kilometer route where the first international marathon took place here in Port Harcourt. It did start at the Shark Stadium in Port Harcourt and ran through and did come to conclusion after 2 hours, 28 minutes at the Dokia Mercy Stadium, at the Liberation Stadium in Port Harcourt. What does this portend for Rivers State? Yes, we've seen winners now emerge after what is called the maiden international marathon here in Port Harcourt.
For me, I think it's very simple. It portends that indeed Rivers State is also making a mark in terms of athletics because I think if we talk about maybe the Okwekwe race and Lagos International Marathon race, I think the next in line now is Rivers State because it's been a while that we hosted this kind of thing, and they are also trying to put themselves on the map out there in terms of competing favorably well with other states in terms of athletes. But talking about the winners proper, I think it also shows that Rivers State, we need to do a lot in terms of developing young athletes. We are hosting this one here in our own backyard, but we saw athletes all the way from Plateau State dominating the male category. The first, the second, and the third person was also clinched the female category rather. And for me, it clearly tells
talk about the female category. It was a galaxy of athletes from Nigeria and, of course, across Africa. Yeah. We had Kenyans, Ethiopians, and somewhere West African countries participating in this one. And while Nigerians won in the male category, male first and second position, in the female category, we saw Penina from Kenya winning the top prize, the first prize there for female. So it wasn't purely a Nigerian thing. We had some foreigners who took part in it, and they won as well. Yeah. Top prize going to Nigerian in the male category, then top prize going to a foreigner, a Kenyan to be specific, Pelina, in the female category.
Yeah, I think it clearly tells you that this competition is not just for athletes here in the States, nor other states here in the country.
Even in the female, we saw in Nigeria they made second. Charity Agofure, came second with a time of 3 hours, 2 minutes, and 58 seconds.
It's an impressive feat for us here in the state and in the country at large. When it has to do with long distance race, that is never our area of comparative advantage. But then, good a thing to know that we're beginning to compete favorably well with others. The likes of the Kenyans, they are also, this is their own area of comparative advantage. Talk about Kenya and Ethiopia, but then good thing, like I said, we are seeing Nigerians giving them a run for their money out there. I think for me it's going to be a great one if we can continue to sustain this kind of momentum going forward, maybe 5, 7, 8 years down the line. We'll be able to churn out athletes that will be specialists in terms of long distance races. Then again, talking about the organization, I think it has also went proper as planned, with $10,000, you know, for each winner of the male and female category. Then again, the governor as well also doled out the sum of 1 million naira for any of the athlete that finishes between the first and the 20th position, which is very, very massive. For me, it is encouraging because this will also help most of the local athletes here to also beef up their game. So for me, I think it's an impressive display. Fine one that the governor was there as well to also attend this very well. It clearly tells you of, you know, the big vision and the big dream that the athletic, you know, sport angle of the River State is taking about. So for me, I think, like I said, if we continue in this trajectory, it's going to be a nice one if we can maintain the momentum. Just like we spoke the other day in our sister station, you also were able to brief us some of the plans ahead already for the next edition. So it clearly tells you that the organizers, they are also not thinking of a one-off thing. They are also thinking of how to sustain this kind of a massive and a lofty idea, which for me is going to be a nice one because economically it has added value. Then again, tourism-wise as well, it has also projected the image of the state. Then again, you talk about possibly maybe unearthing talent. This is another avenue. And then again, we're able to use it to showcase, you know, the state cultural heritage and all of that to the world. So for me, I think it's a massive one that we must also continue to sustain. One that every sport philanthropist must also, you know, support financially and morally to ensure that we continue to sustain this kind of lofty ideas.
Talking about financial support, this first international marathon sponsored by the River State government had a prize money of $10,000 for the first place. Male and female, and His Excellency the Governor of River State, Asimilaye Fubara, was in attendance at this marathon, and he did, besides the prize money, announced that the first place and second place winner in the male and female had an additional 5 million naira, while the second place to the 20th place marathoner will go home with 1 million naira each. So if you came first, if by Nigerian calculations, you could be taking home as much as 25 million naira, while those who came in the second to the third place position will have 1 million naira each. That is a journey, if you want to say, for a lot of residents of Port Harcourt, River State, and Nigerians to now begin to look forward to getting employed or getting additional revenue through taking part in marathon.
Yeah.
In fact, he jokingly said he expects that there will be more people now on the streets early hours of the morning trying to jog, preparing for next year's marathon, which is already, preparations is already in top gear.
Sure. I think it's a nice idea. Like I said earlier, I think the monetary value or the monetary incentive that is attached to it for even finishing within the 20th, coming down to the office this morning, I saw many people jogging along the road. I don't know whether it's a wake-up call for some of the athletes to also dust up their, you know, shoe and canvas to start hitting the road for road work and all of that. So for me, I think it's going to be a motivating factor for some of the athletes. It will also encourage them as well, knowing fully well that there is a jumbo package and the prize money that comes with it for even finishing within the number 20th and will also help them to take opportunity of it and also develop their God-given talent. And by so doing, they can be very, very useful to the society.
Let's hope the participants will be proud of themselves, and of course, do encourage others to be part of it. We want to see a situation where a lot of people could get, in the words of the Governor of River State, get full employment through participating in sports, especially marathon. We understand next year's event will be better than what we saw at the weekend in the Port Harcourt. Let's stay away from marathon now and get to further athletics. And talking about athletics, preparations for the Paris Olympic Games is in top gear. President of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, Tombo COA has given the assurance that
22 athletes representing us there that will be taking part. At least some of them are bidding to also use that as a make way to picking 1 or 2 tickets for the Paris Olympic game. And good they think that the president of that regional championship is also double as the president of Nigerian Athletic Federation, and he's talking tough out there. I think out of those 22 delegates that will send to represent us there, we can be rest assured that at most 7 of them is going to pick 1 or 2 tickets to qualify for the Paris. He is a nice one. Hence, some of the athletes couldn't make it during the first and second phase of the qualification by picking 1 or 2 tickets. I think this one is another big opportunity and avenue for the 22 athletes to see if they can be able to pick 1 or 2 tickets to qualify for the Athletic Federation.
Preparations are top gear for the Olympics, and we have just about a couple of weeks to the Olympic Games, and qualifications seem to be getting close, and we want to see more Nigerians be part of Team Nigeria going to Paris for the Olympic Games. Away from the Olympics, now let's see what is latest from the world of cricket. Nigeria suffered their second defeat at the ongoing 2024 Kibuwaka Cricket Tournament in Kigali, Rwanda, failing by just 23 runs against Kenya in the 3rd game of the tournament only yesterday. Nigeria's unimpressive innings saw them finish with 92 runs out in 15.1 overs. Kingsley, Mike, this is getting very. Yes, cricket for me is the oldest sport you find here in Nigeria.
Yeah.
But our dominance does not come with age.
At all. It did not come with age, and it's a big question and a big worry. If cricket is one of the oldest sports out here, because we talk about cricket, I think that publicity is not there. That impeccable organizational structure of the cricketers can be able to, improve on their game. So for me, I think the static in growth of cricket has made it very difficult for we to compete against the likes of maybe Zimbabwe and the rest of them are there. And that is why we are even struggling in this 8 nations championship. Nigeria is seated 5th out of 8 nation champions. We are seated 5th, having played 3 games, just managed to win only 1 with 2 points to show for it. So for me, I think it's quite disappointing. One that the Cricket Federation need to also be worried about and think of how to be able to change this narrative so that we can move forward and catch up with the rest of the country here in Africa. For example, the Cricket Federation should be taking that lead so that other sport ministries will also use them as a point of contact or example by saying this is what the Cricket Federation is doing, and I think it's a lofty idea. Let us queue behind them and also improve our own area of ball. Contrary is the case. So for me, a lot needs to be done within the Cricket Federation.
A lot needs to be done within the Cricket Federation. Meanwhile, hosts Rwanda and Uganda joined top with 6 points each, having won all their 3 games during the competition so far. Now let's go to basketball, and it's been cheering one for Nigeria and basketball. At the weekend, we saw Rivers Hoopers emerge as the 3rd best basketball team in Africa, and the Nigerian sports ministers, John Ewan, and of course, and Barrister Christopher Green were on hand to receive the victorious basketball players at the Mohammed International Airport, and welcoming them to Nigeria after coming 3rd at the basketball league. Sports minister, is for me, getting at victorious, maybe most podium positions so far since.
Yeah, I think it's a great one for him. It's going to add more value to our credential, respect to his CV so far as he assumed office. I think it's a nice one. Getting to also associate with Rivers Hoopers, who triumphantly, we say in quote, went there and did us proud. Coming back, I think they needed that big reception, that big welcome from every sport lovers are there, which Barrister Christopher Green and also the sport minister also trooped in their number at the airport to welcome them, because I think for me they did gallantly. Nobody gave them a chance, even starting from the preliminary stage either in Senegal, where we find ourselves in one of the toughest group, but then we were able to come out top in that very group, playing 6 games, winning 4. Losing to them. The second phase took place at Rwanda in Kigali, where we lost our first game, bounced back very strong against US Monastir, but then unfortunately we could not hold our own against Al Ahly of Libya. They had a better effort. But in the third place match, they made sure that at least they finished within the podium against the South African Cape Town, which for me I think is a great one. They've also, made history for themselves as well of becoming the first Nigerian basketball club to get this far in the Basketball African League. So for me, I think they deserve that heroic welcome.
Well, talking about Rivers Hoopers and winning 10th place position at the Basketball League Africa Season 4, it is not just the sports minister that is in very elated mood. The Nigerian Basketball Federation has equally congratulated representatives of the Nigeria at the Basketball League Rivers Hoopers for claiming the bronze at the just concluded event. We trust that the Basketball Federation will manage this success for even greater heights.
That is my worry. That is my worry because the Basketball Federation here, we need to at least learn from this, knowing fully well that if our league is properly, managed and run, we can be able to get good clubs here that can represent us effectively in terms of the Basketball African League. So it's a wake-up call for them because in time past, I think especially during the era of Solomon Dalong as the sport minister then, I think that basketball federation, they were just dormant, they were sleeping, nothing, no improvement of whatever. So, but I think the high height of Rivers Hoopers is going to serve as a wake-up call for the Basketball Federation of Nigeria to ensure that they put every necessary thing on ground. Our league should be properly structured, properly planned, so that we can be able to have a very viable league out here. Because if we do, then we are going to see the example that have been set by Rivers Hoopers, courtesy of good preparation, good planning. Because without the proper preparation for Rivers Hoopers, good planning, I don't think they should have gotten to where they are right now. You saw how they finished the league, the Basketball League here in the country, where they emerged champion. And the final of that one actually took place here in Rivers State, Port Harcourt to be precise. Then they followed up on that, go into the market, get 5 good quality players and add to the rank, and that helped them a lot to go out there and did the exploit they did. So for me, I think it's a wake-up call for the Basketball Federation of the country to also start doing the needful, knowing fully well that if everything is properly planned and programmed out, mapped out, then we'll have about 5 basketball team here that can be ready to say, okay, yes, we are good to go in terms of the Basketball African League.
Basketball African League, Nigeria emerging third through Rivers Hoopers' participation at the 4th season of the Basketball League in Africa. As if, for me, it was a very awesome outing for Rivers Hoopers because the team, yes, came third, the first Nigerian team to go that far in the Basketball League in Africa. They were the very first Nigerian side to win a match at the Basketball League in Africa, the first Nigerian side to go to the playoff, and the first Nigerian side as well, to emerge on the podium via winning the 3rd place prize as well. So a lot of, encomiums going with this victory of Rivers Hoopers at the Basketball League in Africa. But as if that was not enough, all of this is not enough, the coach of the side emerged as the coach of the tournament, Season 4, Basketball League Africa Season 4. It's never been so good for Nigeria at the Basketball League Africa. Coach Dada emerging as the best coach of the tournament when we had teams from Egypt, Al Ahly of Egypt, we had teams from winners of the competition themselves, Petro de Luanda of Angola, and several other top coaches both to the tournament. But it is Coach Dada from Nigeria who emerged as the champion of this basketball, that's the best coach of the 2024 edition of the Basketball League.
For me, I think it's a massive achievement and one that we must also commend. Taking a look at what Coach Ogo Daoud have done so far for Rivers Hoopers, truly deserving, we want to say, for a tournament that nobody gave us a chance, but the coach was able to go out there and prove a point. Despite a short period of time that he had to also blend this foreign imports with the old players, but then they were still able to, blend seamlessly, and he was able to take this team that far. I think it's a clear testament of his quality. His quality has never been in doubt. Just like you mentioned earlier, we have other top coaches from different other clubs out there, like Al Ahly of Egypt, who is the defending champion, Petro de Luanda, a traditional team out there that have always been there in the Basketball African League. But then none of these coaches were able to, win this award. But coach Ogo Odaodo, for his second outing in the Basketball African League, achieved this kind of massive feat. It clearly tells you that Nigeria have talent, and of course, if everything were to be normal, we'll have a lot of them that will also continue to make us proud. So for me, I think it's a big achievement for Coach Ogo Odaodo.
Coach Ogo Odaodo, the best coach of the Basketball League Africa Season 4, and Rivers Hoopers coach, who were made third at the competition. They are in Lagos, expected to be in Port Harcourt any moment soon, and that will be a tumultuous welcome for River Supers.
Definitely. Considering what they did here in the Basketball League here in the country, where they actually won it, you saw the amount of fans that took part in their numbers during the final here in Port Harcourt to support them. It clearly tells you of the fact that they've been able to endear themselves in the heart of the fans out there. And of course, when you are doing well, you know, there's this saying that success has twin brother, but failure is an orphan. When you are successful, you see so many people want to identify with you, and that is what Rivers Hoopers represent. At this point in time, you know, they are the talk of the town because of their massive achievement. So I believe that most of their fans out there will be waiting, you know, to welcome them here in the city of Port Harcourt.
The River Supers expected in the city of Port Harcourt any moment soon. Trust us, we should be on ground to cover that one, and of course bring you most of the happenings on our program Sports Extraordinary, coming up at 6 p.m. Nigerian time. Time for us to take a break. When we return from a break, we'll bring you one or two stories from the world of athletics, and of course delve into ever-busy world of football, where Real Madrid continue to reign supreme when it comes to UEFA Champions League. This is of this and many more will be yours when we return from the break.
Corruption not in my country.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't buga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract we will do that time now? They don't pay.
But first, you see the house rent with the old things. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap him.
You know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shark beer in our house, I go pay that one. You remember say me and tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy now.
Okay, they pay you money now. We don't they beg caretaker? Why would they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time? Money can't come now. You won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadehi Foundation, the Marketer Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption not in my country.
Kasali, I hope so my car don't ready. I get interview in 30 minutes.
Okay, you don't ready. I just the last minute instruction where you give me yesterday. Now in the cause more delay.
Which instruction?
Maybe now you say make I change the meter, make you no read again.
Which time I make you change meter? Oh, Kasali, why you do like like this now? You don't get sense. You don't read the text message. Nobody I want send them to. Like Kasali, my electrician, make you come house, call me, do my meter so that you don't go to read again. You the electrician?
You're electrician.
Yes, now.
So you.
Welcome back. It's Sports Talk. It's still here on Atlantic Television Network, and I have with me Mike. And together we'll bring you up to speed with the latest happening around the world of sports, especially highlights of what happened at the weekend and what to expect this ahead. Meanwhile, in tennis, the French Open, which is the biggest tennis event going on right now around the world, is into the quarterfinals. And interesting pairings, I must tell you, and some results we saw at the weekend. Ika Swiatek, the world #1 in female tennis, continued to show why she's been dominant, especially this season. She took just 40 minutes, yes, 40 minutes, you heard me right, to register a crushing 6-love win over Anastasia Potapova at the French Open to reach the quarterfinals. This third place fixture, Mike, looked to me like an effortless, let's say, spectacle from the lady you see on your screen there, Iga Swiatek from Poland. She 40 minutes and straight set win, not just straight set win, 6-love, 6-love. Very, very dominant.
Sensational is just the word to use for Iga Swiatek. You can't actually underrate her achievement so far. No wonder she has maintained that #1 ranking for quite a long time. It was a flawless, win for her. Very impeccable display from Iga Swiatek, the world #1 out there, having, her fastest win so far in the history. Just 41 minutes it took her to take off her opponent, and also coming second fastest. I think the last person that did that in the 80s was Stevie Graf, who actually won one of the fastest clear-cut display out there with a time of 32 seconds. Yes, that is the first person, Stevie Graf, 1988, where she actually achieved that. And for me, in this age, Iga Swiatek remains that poster girl in the WTA for me. And as it stands right now, I don't see anybody stopping her, because she has shown consistency over the past few years right now, and that is why she's maintaining the world #1. It was an empirical display from Iga Swiatek. So for me, I think I'm highly tipping Iga Swiatek to go to the final. Not just going to the final, but to also win this very one. But then she still have many hurdles to cross out there. But I tell you, it was a flawless display from Iga Swiatek.
Talking about many hurdles which Iga Swiatek, the world #1 female tennis, will have to cross to winning the French Open for a record third time. She has now she's in the quarterfinals, I did mention earlier. And she has a very difficult opponent, I must tell you, because the opponent is a former, in fact, the current Wimbledon champion, Marketa Vondrousova, who will be her opponent. Do you see, let's say, defending champion at the French Open up against Wimbledon champion coming easy for the Polish lady?
It's a big press on here, but then looking at the display of Iga Swiatek over the past few months, you cannot overlook the superiority of Iga Swiatek against Marketa Vondrousova, who is also a very, very good player any day, anytime. So I think it's a battle of the titans, and one thing I'm just happy about is that we are going to see some of these big names, because earlier in the competition, the pairing could not allow some of these big guns to match against each other, but then we are gradually getting into the thick of the action, where we begin to see some of these big names being merged together. So for me, I think I'm excited as a tennis fan out there to see some of these big names. But to the angle where the pendulum is going to swing, I think it's going to swing in favor of Iga Swiatek.
Iga Swiatek most likely could, in the words of Mike, be the winner at the quarterfinal stage. We keep our fingers crossed. Few hours from now, that match will be coming up. And talking about opponents for which she has to go past to winning the Wimbledon, the French Open for a record third time. Coco Gauff is one of them. She too is showing signs that she wants to go far, because she took out Italy's Elisabetta Cosentino, winning 6-1, 6-2. Straight set win there to emerge as another quarterfinalist. There is Onjobora from Africa, our best player, if you remember, is there as well. She took out Denmark's Clara Tauson, 6-4, 6-4. The ladies are not stressing themselves. They just want to end the game in straight sets.
Yeah, the likes of Coco Gauff, the likes of Onjobora are very good. They are actually progressing, improving on their game, unlike what we saw last 3 months ago, where the likes of Coco Gauff has lacked that consistency. I think we're beginning to see a flash of that real Coco Gauff in the past. Then again, for Onjobora, who also try to get close to success, but anytime that she wants to lay her hand on that success, it looks as though it becomes a mirage. But this time around, let's see if she can be able to break that jinx of that mere success syndrome this time around. So for me, I think in the WTA, we'll have some mouth-watering encounters, still having some of the big names, still left out, the likes of Iga Swiatek, Marketa Vondrousova, Coco Gauff, Onjobora. These are some of the big names still very much around. So for me, I think for Coco Gauff, yeah, she has what it takes, because I think on any day, any time that she comes to the party, you can also put your money on bank on Coco Gauff to do the needful.
It's not only the females that are so far to the quarterfinals at the French Open. We have the males as well, and the big names continue to push forward at the French Open. One big name at this year's French Open is Carlos Alcaraz, who made a very strong statement after going past very difficult Felix Auger-Aliassime to reaching the quarterfinals. It was the 21-year-old from Spain, Alcaraz, who won 6-3, 6-3, 6-1 against the Canadian Lasime.
Yeah, impressive display from Carlos Alcaraz. You know, Carlos Alcaraz in 2 years, a year ago, I mean, we tipped him to become the new face of the ATP.
New Rafael Nadal?
Yes, to take up or wear the shoe of Rafael Nadal to fit into that big, you know, stage. But then consistency has been his own major bane. He has not been able to stay consistent. So whenever he shows that glimpse, that flashes again, when you just want to fix your eyes on him, the next thing he just crumble. Let's hope that he's going to improve on his game, because if it doesn't, I see him even dropping as Danny Medvedev, still very much around. So for me, it's a big congratulations to Carlos Alcaraz, but then he still have a lot of hurdles to climb.
Very difficult one. Stefano Tsitsipas was in action as well.
Yeah, as well, and he also did the needful. You know, Tsitsipas on his form out there, how he was able to tame down his opponent. It clearly tells you of the quality he brings to the table. And for me, we're going to see this competition in the ATP as well. You know, over the past one COVID, but at least this year we are beginning to see that monopoly being tamed down, starting from when Jannik Sinner actually did the unthinkable against Novak Djokovic over the year. And for me, this year alone, the likes of Novak Djokovic, he has not been able to win any
talking
major.
about Novak Djokovic, the world #1 in male tennis. He's maybe struggled in your another strange game. Stay on the court for nearly 5 hours. The match ended in the early hours, about 3 a.m., few minutes past 3 a.m. French Open, we've seen about 3 games going to 5 setters that stretch into the early hours of the morning.
Yeah.
And the tennis players are beginning to complain that matches ending at about 3 hours of the morning, the wee hours of the morning, is not too good for their mental health and physical health as well. Leading that charge is Coco Gauff. Think about game ending at about 3 a.m. in the morning, matches that start maybe at about 10 p.m., going all the way till about after 3 a.m.
Highest record of some of the late night game, some of the game finishing as far as 3 a.m. in the morning, which for me I think is energy sapping. It destabilizes their emotional you know, balance as well, because if you are finishing a game around 3 a.m. in the morning, what time do you have to go refreshing up and take a rest, and also wake up the next day to prepare, continue your training routine for the next game? So for me, I think they should do something about it. Most of us must find a way to be able to change this time, which for me I think is not favorable for the players. We saw a similar thing in the ATP and the WTA, you know, a tour, but they had to also look at, it does not end by 11 a.m. I mean, 11 p.m. should be stopped, and no game will proceed from 11 p.m. down to the next morning. They've actually stopped that in the ATP. But in the Roland Garros, who also makes their own rules for themselves, I think that rule has not been implemented. But I believe with the competition, because I tell you, for me, I think I do not support that. It's mentally sapping, and it also breaks them down. Even if you are not doing any hectic work, you staying awake from evening down till the hour of 3 a.m. in the morning, I mean, naturally, you will get breakdown. You cannot get back to your normal self. So for me, I think they should find a way of trying to balance the book so that it will also favor the athletes as tennis players as well.
Let's hope that the organizers of Grand Slams will find a way of ensuring that athletes don't stay on the court up to 3 a.m. because when they stay on the court up to 3 a.m., they will still have to do some media responsibilities, you know, talking to the press, and after talking to the press for a few minutes and all of it. So by the time they end up going to sleep, it's already 5, 6 a.m., 7, sometimes even 7 a.m. in the morning. So the players are beginning to say, yes, this is tough on their mental health, tough on their physical health as well. Organizers definitely should be thinking out of the box on what to do about this one. Let's talk about thinking out of the box, the night of going to the Olympic Games.
Yeah, it's quite disappointing. One after we saw 2 of them being defeated last week. We thought maybe two of them that were remaining, the likes of Joba and Azagba, was going to at least pick one or two tickets out there, but then unfortunately all of them have been hosted out. I think it's a quite disappointing one, and one that calls for sober reflection from the Boxing Federation of Nigeria to start looking on the reason why this thing happened. They have to take a total appraisal of what actually transpired on why most of the athletes. There are some complaints as well in some quarters. We heard that some of these boxers out there actually sponsor themselves with their own money to go for this very championship, and that is pretty bad. How do you allow, if there's anything to go by that news, it means that the Boxing Federation do not even cater for their welfare. They do not care about them, and for them, they want to make an impact, and that is why they had to use their own personal fund to go for this very one, to see if they can be able to pick the Paris Olympic Games. So for me, I think it's a wake-up call, one that the Boxing Federation need to work hard properly, because if there's anything to go by this negative news, then I tell you it's a very, very bad one.
While Nigerian boxers failed, some have failed to get, obtain the Olympic ticket via qualification at the weekend. Talking about boxing reminds me that there was plenty of action in the ring at Saudi Arabia at the weekend. Zillian Zhang, yes, that's his name, Zillian Zhang, was able to knock out Deontay Wilder in the 5th round. It looks like an explosive right hook that did not have respect
at all.
Deontay Wilder.
I think you needed to watch the clip when that explosive right hook came to his face. He staggered like a fowl that is suffering from Newcastle disease. And then Zhang, pounced on him to finish off the job. Thanks to the referee that came to also help the life of, Deontay Wilder out there. So for me, I think it's quite a disappointing one for Deontay Wilder. Maybe it's time for him to leave the stage, because he have had more losses in the recent years right now compared to the wins that he has emerged. And in December, when he actually lost his last fight, he made it very clear that if he lost against an old man of 41 years old, that he's going to throw in his gloves out there. So I believe this defeat is also going to remind him of his word, that if he lost against Zhang, he's going to retire. Let's hope that he retires, because for me, his form has taken a different shape altogether since the last 2 years right now. Deontay Wilder is no longer that Deontay Wilder we used to know. I don't know what his trainer is doing, talking about Mali Scott, because for me, I think the greatest undoing of Deontay Wilder is that he doesn't have this leg movement. He doesn't have this leg work. And for me, as a boxer, you need that flair. You need that movement on the ring out there, because if you don't, if you meet up with a very smart boxer, they are going to take you to the clean-out, which is what Zhang did against him. So for me, I think it's a quite disappointing one. But then again, not only that fight also took place, we also saw, Daniel Dubious and Govic as well taking place, and Dubious also had a better of his opponent out there. So for me, it looked as though Frank Warren, who is the promoter as well at the end, have actually used this competition to settle scores for themselves. Don't forget their beef in time past, talking about Warren and Eddie Hearn. But then it looked as though in this featherweight competition, almost 5 of the representatives of Frank Warren has gotten the better of Eddie Hearn, fighters out there. I think for me, it's a great one.
Well, Deontay Wilder will have to think of seeing how he can return back to the ring and see where there's any more victory left in his fight. But if you ask me, he should be thinking of staying safe and not go back to be punished the way that right hook did send him staggering out there in Saudi Arabia at the weekend. Enough of boxing. Now let's go to football. And talk about football reminds me that the Nigerian Premier Football League is coming to an end with just about 4 games to the end of the season. One candidate has been relegated officially, going by number of points scored so far. Gombe United had now been confirmed for relegation from the league this year.
Disappointing one for Gombe United. Their season has not been that good. In fact, it's one of the worst seasons they've had.
They lost 2-0 to Sunshine Stars?
Yes. One of the worst seasons over the past 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's not a good one for them.
Talking about relegation for Gombe United, there's not much we can look at that. One other team that is doing their best to avoid relegation is Sporting Lagos. They were able to force the leaders on the league table, Enugu Rangers, to a goalless draw in Lagos.
Yeah, very impressive one for them. Let's see if they can be able to, stay afloat in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Don't forget how they started the league. They started the league, gun blazing, firing from us. Now we thought maybe they are going to be the new kid on the blocks, like what Girona did in the La Liga or even Bayern Leverkusen. But then, as the season continued to progress, they seem to lose their grips. And for me, I think it's quite disappointing. But it's a good thing to know that they are actually battling very hard to stay afloat. Unlike the likes of Bayelsa United, Aqua United is also still battling that line of drop zone.
If you are trying to see how, with 4 more games, we'll see whether Bayelsa United will be saved, but looking very difficult. And same for Aqua United. Kwara United as well at the weekend played a 1-0 draw with Niger Tornadoes. Bayelsa, like we said, is trying to stay afloat by winning Plateau United 3-2 in Yenigua. It was 2-1 in Kene, where Remo Stars beat Kano Pillars by 2-0. Doma United is struggling as well to avoid relegation by beating Lobby Stars by 1-0. Insurance of Benin continued to stay afloat, this time by beating Katsina United by 2-0. The biggest defeat at the weekend was the encounter at Aba, where Rivers United were pummeled 4-1. Their worst result so far this season.
Disappointing one for Rivers United. Over the past, few meetings between Rivers United and Enyimba, Rivers United always have the upper hand against Enyimba, but then I think this one is a very disappointing one for Rivers United, who also is seated 9th on the log. If they had won some of these games, even their standing games, that 3 out of those are standing games, they should have been in a very respectable position right now. 4-0 dropping against Enyimba, that is the height of the embarrassment. For Enyimba, who is also hoping to keep up the gap, to keep closing the gap on Enugu Rangers as well, it's a big win for them because they've actually cut the point of Enugu Rangers lead to just 2 points.
Well, we hope that they will bounce back because it's not too good. They have to improve on their position on the league table. Yes, they won't be going to Europe via the league anymore from the position where they are now, but at least they should improve from going out of the top 10 at the end of this season. Well, quickly, this response to the camp ahead of the very crucial encounter against Bafana of South Africa.
Yeah, good one. About 15 players trained yesterday. We are still expecting about 10 of the players to hit the camp, maybe from the early hours of this morning.
There was Victor Boniface in that training session.
Yes.
Didi as well.
Yes.
Terence Murphy in that squad.
Yeah. Chidozie Awazema as well. Stanley Wabali to mention, but some of the few players that were in, and some of the new invitees, the locally based players. About 2 of them, Ismail and Igboke, also was in the camp yesterday. They also took part in the training session. But then my only worry is about the injury concern of some of the players, the likes of Victor Osimhen, the likes of Ola Aina, not there, Kenneth Umeru, not there. Finidi George just need to find a way to get a result because Nigerians wouldn't want to hear some of these excuses. They just need to find a way to get all 3 points against the South Africans.
Injuries are part of the game, and so that will be the excuse for poor performance from the Super Eagles of Nigeria. A couple of days to the encounter at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium. Now let's quickly go to Europe. And talking about Europe, it has been an all-weekend party for Real Madrid. They've won their record 15th UEFA Champions League trophy, courtesy of that 2-0 hammering of Borussia Dortmund. It was a game of 2 halves. Borussia Dortmund had all the first half to themselves, missed 3 clear goal-scoring opportunities. Real Madrid came back in the second half, put themselves together, and scored 2 goals that ensured that they won the UEFA Champions League for a record 15th time. Yes, record, because I think AC Milan, the next team to them, is won it only just about. We're in a static mood. From the Wembley Stadium, they went back to Spain, and it's been all-night party in Spain up till the early hours of this morning.
Yeah, it really deserves to party, looking at what they've achieved so far this season. In fact, they played almost 51 games, both their home league and the continental, losing just 1 out of those games. A very, very impeccable display from Real Madrid. Though may say yes, Dortmund, they lost the game, but then they can still hold their head very, very high, looking at their impressive display, in the Champions League final over the weekend, where the first half was totally dominated. They have some of the glorious chances coming their way, but the likes of Karim Adeyemi and Fokrook also failed to take their chances when it came in the first half, and that is what you get. If you don't take your chances against such an experienced team like Real Madrid, they would definitely won 6 of those, last 11 final. And for me, the history of Real Madrid cannot be broken. It would take clubs decades to be able to get to. Real Madrid is on 15. Bayern Munich also won it 6 times. So it will take decades of years before that club can be able to match up with the likes of Real Madrid.
Vinicius Junior was on fire at the weekend for Real Madrid, and the same thing for Jude Bellingham. But that Caballer's header was pumping, I must tell you. And we mentioned to you that celebration still continuing in the streets of Spain. There, a lot of people still enjoying themselves. And the coach of the side, Carlo Ancelotti, you can't but look at the man of history. If he comes to the Champions League, he keeps winning, winning and winning. And in fact, a lot to talk about the UEFA Champions League victory of the Spanish team, Real Madrid, on our program, Sports Extraordinary, this evening. But talking about Real Madrid, they continue to fortify their team year after year. Kylian Mbappe is already on his way to Madrid, Real Madrid, so to say.
Yeah. Another assemblage of the Galacticos. This is what Real Madrid is known of over the years. They assembled the best of the best. I've seen Toni Kroos playing his last game for Real Madrid, yet they are not giving up. They still want to beef up their squad. They've already gotten the likes of Hendrik, a very youngster from the Brazilian from Palmeiras. Then again for Kylian Mbappe, you see the kind of young squad and very talented player within the rank of Real Madrid so far. We will say yes, they will continue in this dominance in years to come, because likes of Tchouameni, Camavinga, Adagula, Garcia, these are some of the young squad. They are doing so massively well without a proven outright striker, yet they are getting the results.
Well, Real Madrid getting results, and as if that is not enough, they are fortifying their team as well. Kylian Mbappe, like I mentioned to you, is already on his way to the Spanish capital, Madrid, to join Real Madrid in preparations. And we have to wrap up at this point in time. Quite a lot to talk about. But just one more story coming from Europe. One man we saw at the Wembley Stadium at the weekend was Coach Jose Mourinho. He was, on the stand there, in fact, in the commentary position with broadcasters of the match and sharing his knowledge. But now he's already on his way to Turkey, and he's going to Fenerbahce, to be specific, where he has just been appointed coach of the Fenerbahce Football Club of Turkey. Jose Mourinho, former coach of Chelsea, he's won everything. He won the Champions League, Europa League, even the Conference League. Now being charged to win at least the league in Turkey. Fenerbahce wants to upstage Galatasaray of Turkey because they came second this time around.
Yeah, I think Jose Mourinho is a perfect coach that fit into such aim, that vision. Let's hope that he's going to do the needful.
Let's hope he will, and that will be it for this edition of Sports Talk. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow, but before then, there will be 6 p.m. Sports Extraordinary. Until then, remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.
Telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we go block later. You remember that contract where we do that time now?